Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Inspiring Teachers, the Honored Podcast, where we shine a spotlight on life-changing teachers across the country. The Honored Podcast is brought to you by the team at Honored, which is a national nonprofit. I'm Hannah, the program associate at Honored, as well as the host and producer of our podcast. In today's episode, we are going to tell you a little bit about who we are, the history behind starting Honored, the impact of our work, and an intro to the podcast. Founded in 2016, Honored is a national nonprofit organization dedicated to honoring and elevating great teachers across the country. Our mission is to inspire and retain great teachers, keeping them in the classroom as long as possible. Every month at Honored, we select an exceptional educator in the United States to be the recipient of the Honored National Teaching Award. Each honoree, as we call them, gets a $5,000 cash reward, and we then tell their story on our website and our social media platforms of how that teacher has impacted their students' lives. Our honorees are selected by nominations that are written directly from students and families at public, private, and charter schools across the country. Our honorees teach any subject K through 12, and we also work to highlight a diversity of subjects, cities, states, genders, and more to reflect the composition of teachers across the nation. Through our nomination process, we are able to elevate the student voice by hearing their unique and personal experiences. Something else that is incredible about our work is that our impact isn't just made through those monthly honorees that are chosen. They're also made through those nominations by students and families. So those nominations are what we call honor stories. And each honor story is sent directly to the teacher who is nominated, so they get to read the impact that they are making in these students' lives. Throughout the rest of the episode, you'll hear directly from Karen Sonneborn and Catherine Boone, the co-founders of Honored. You'll hear them talk about the history behind the foundation of Honored, as well as the vitality and importance of teacher recognition in keeping teachers engaged, inspired, and ultimately in the classroom to continue making an impact on these students.
Hi everyone, I'm Karen. Thank you so much for listening to the inaugural episode of the Honored Podcast. So one question that Catherine and I are often asked is why we started Honored. And for me, that's a pretty easy one. The Honored mission and model is really a tribute to my late father, John Hammerback, who himself was a lifelong educator. And after he passed away, a number of his students reached out to our family to share in such a heartfelt way how much he had transformed their lives. The stories we heard ranged from, "Your father was the first person to ever believe in me," to, "I'm not sure if I'd have made it through school without your dad's daily encouragement." And this was really my aha moment, that one teacher can be the catalyst for a life transformed. And teachers should hear directly from their students about that special impact they are making. Thankfully, I found a kindred spirit in Catherine, whose extensive research on teacher recognition underpins much of the Honored model.
So we feel like this work is so important because we know that recognition is actually such a critical part of keeping teachers and all professionals engaged in their work. There are many professions that have built-in systems of direct feedback within the reporting chain, and teaching doesn't often have that. So we know that teachers who are regularly recognized are more productive, more engaged at school, and more likely to receive higher satisfaction scores from students and parents, and they're more likely to stay at their school. And yet, research from Gallup shows that most teachers, up to 70%, report they haven't been recently acknowledged or praised for their work. And actually, a full 40% said they don't even feel personally valued as a teacher in general. Teacher recognition can be a great antidote to burnout, which is a looming problem for the teaching profession.
As Catherine described, before we founded Honored back in 2016, we really did a significant amount of research about how to make our platform the most efficacious it could possibly be. And thankfully, the metrics have confirmed the power of the model. A few years ago, when we partnered with a respected analytical survey firm to survey the thousands of teachers who received honor stories, even we were amazed and thrilled at the data. 96% of teachers who received an honor story feel more inspired in their teaching practice. 95% feel more enthusiastic about teaching, and very importantly, 89% of those teachers are more certain that they will continue teaching for the next 5 years. So the simple act of recognition really works.
And we also know that recognition works best for teachers when it's authentic, when it's personalized, and was received regularly. And so our platform sets up our teachers to be recognized in a way that is actually the most effective in terms of keeping them engaged, inspired, and in the classroom.
And not only are the honor stories effective, they are just so heartwarming and uplifting to read. Beautiful testimonials have come in about teachers across the country who are quietly changing lives. We've received submissions actually from all 50 states, from the biggest cities to the smallest rural towns, encompassing every type of school and subject and educator imaginable. We're just humbled and honored, to shine a light on these remarkable teachers who are so dedicated to their craft.
It really does. It really gives you a sense that, in this world where the news can be so fraught, that there are thousands and thousands of these sort of micro interactions where there is goodness and love and compassion and caring happening every single day. And we get a little window into that by reading all the honor stories. And it's incredibly powerful. It really changes your outlook on life, hearing these stories day in and day out.
Absolutely. And just a quick shout out for our website. If anyone out there wants to read some of these honor stories, please visit honored.org and click on the honor roll. And every honor story we've received is published there. You can search for a particular city, your high school, or even see if your favorite teacher has been honored. They're really a joy to read.
So we are so excited to introduce the Honored podcast because we really feel this is the next step in some of the core principles of our work from the beginning. And one of that has been elevating the student voice and elevating teachers, and hearing the actual voices is obviously the best way to elevate those voices. And so that feels like a natural extension of our mission. And we have always felt like storytelling is part of our mission, that we want to tell the stories of students and teachers and let the students and teachers tell their own stories to elevate that one-to-one relationship between a student and teacher that can be so impactful for students' lives. And so we feel like this will be a great way for our listeners to hear about inspiring teachers and the ways that they have changed students' lives.
Yes, and the podcast is an important part of our efforts to change the conversation and shift some of the prevailing narrative that can focus on the negative toward all of the important learning and character growth and general goodness happening in classrooms throughout the country. We're really shining a light on great teachers and the students and families whom they have impacted so profoundly.
Thank you so much for listening and joining us today to learn more about Honored and Inspiring Teachers, the Honored podcast. If you're interested in learning more, you can visit our website at honored.org or follow us on social media through the links included in the episode description below.